Blessings and love to you. Welcome. Welcome to this Monday Collective Consciousness update, this Monday Musings. This series on a Monday, a moon day, was very specifically created to talk about and to bring different perspectives and understanding to the shadows that collectively we're going through. Because on some level, for something to be collective, it has to be individual first. So today is a potentially triggering topic. It's controversial because there are lots of views upon this because it is so highly charged. And the reason why it's so highly charged is because it's about a topic which we have so much illusion about. For when we're triggered, when there is charge, it's because there is a lot of emotion. The emotion tells us that there is a belief active, sometimes on many, many, many layers, such as this one, which goes against, contrasts against what our higher self, what we truly know. So whenever we have two opposing thoughts within us, especially a thought which has been embodied, the body itself will create an emotion to tell us if we're in alignment with truth, so we feel joy and bliss, happiness, or if it's going against and sabotaging ourselves, if we are self-sabotaging. This is shadow alchemy. Shadows are self-sabotaging. They're also the biggest expansion that we'll have is when we work with our shadows. They are there creating themselves and experiences day in, day out in order to help us move through and alchemize the illusion. And so today we're going to be talking about one of the highest charged things that is present on this planet right now, and that's money. Especially this particular video, because we could talk about money all day and all night, going through the layers, because there are so many layers to the charge around money, but we're going to be talking about it specifically to do with spirituality. Why should I pay for spiritual information? Why should I pay for healing? Why should I pay for workshops? Why should I pay for this, for that, for this, for that? And it's an interesting question. It's interesting because it goes straight into one of the biggest core wounds we have, one of the biggest illusions we have. And that illusion is that we are limited. That illusion is that we are not abundant. The illusion is that money is separate to us. It is not. Money is a part of us because money is energy. Everything is energy. What does that mean, though? It means that this, for example, this card right here, this oracle card, you can hear it. It sounds physical. It looks physical. You can't really see through it. But everything is energy. This is made up of subatomic particles. This is made up of electrons and protons and neutrons and everything in between. It's non-physical, really. Has hardly any mass, but together, combined together, holding itself together, is physical. Money is exactly the same. Now, what binds together? What binds together atoms? Electricity does, charge does, balance does. Now, this universe has universal principles and laws. The law of attraction and repulsion is one. Usually that gets shortened and there are lots of videos on it. But the law of attraction and repulsion is one. There are many others. We're not going to talk about those today. Because the thing is that money itself is neutral. It's a neutral force. It's neutral energy. It is simply there waiting to be commanded by our emotions. And every time we feel frustration about something, whether it's a bill that we have to pay, whether it's having to pay for food, which now seems to be at this price rather than this price, and la, 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 whatever it is, whenever money is involved, there is usually an underlying emotion of frustration. And that frustration, money feels it, and it goes, oh, I don't want to go near that frustration. It's like two magnets, instead of magnetizing it, pushes it away. So money is really an interesting one because it's the amount of money that we have individually is based solely on the emotions that we've alchemized around it from whatever we've placed blame on through life. Whenever you've had an argument with a friend and the word money has been thrown in, I've paid more than you have on this, you owe me this and this. And then you have rifts with friends or with family, and then you blame money. That's an emotional layer. Whenever you've wanted something, you've desired something, you wanted it, and you haven't got it because the price tag is too high for what's currently in your wallet. Or when you were younger and you couldn't have what you wanted when you were a child, and your parents may have said something about money. We don't have the money. Money doesn't grow on trees. All this sounds fairly self-explanatory. We read about it often if you read those types of books, but most people miss the emotional connection, the emotional understanding. Now, how does this link in with spirituality? How does this link in with someone who is offering workshops or courses or day events or healing containers and things like that, readings, etc.? There can be a perception that, and this is a false perception I'm about to say, but there can be a perception that information is only accessible through an external individual. There can be a perception that healing is only attainable if booked through a certain being or person. That's not the case. Whenever you book a healing with anyone, you are not booking for them to heal you. You are booking them because of their alignment, because of their connection with who they are, because of their amount of alchemy that they've done. You are booking them because they can hold a container and see you so whole, so healthy, so abundant, and so true in your highest self way that is the only energy that can create itself in that space. And so for that moment that you're working with them, whether you're watching a video, reading a book written by them, using cards by them, in that moment when you're connecting with their energy, even if you're just thinking about them, their alignment, their connection is true. Their vibration is going to attract yours up. It's going to be the overriding vibration. So if it's a healing and you're booking that with anyone, whatever the healing might be, you yourself are booking it. You are offering energetic exchange. Once again, if this is money, because this is a currency, this is a thing that exists in the world today, because we've long forgotten how to be sovereign in our exchange. We've long forgotten how to respect energy. We don't respect money. We're frustrated by it most of the world. Frustrated by it. It's the bane of everyone's life. You know, we feel entrapped by it, but actually it's not money's fault. That's an emotion that you're projecting. We can project that. We project onto things. That's what our ego does. Our ego projects onto things or onto people. We say, this is because of this. It's not. It's always to do with our own shadows, our wounds from our inner child and our shadows that are trying to find their way home to the heart, to become loved, to become whole, to be released from their burden of the ego constructs, to realign with the truth of the one true heart, the truth of who you actually are. And who you are abundant, you are healthy, you are whole, you are source energy through and through, with lots of cages of the ego trapping you, trapping each of us, really, until we do the work, until we sit with everything and breathe. And every time it tries to project out, we bring it back in. So let us look at this. Let us look at exchanging of energy, because this is actually karma. If someone has the belief that they cannot afford something, firstly, it's a false belief. It's a false belief because you're looking at an energy that's been created from a past vibration. Your truth of who you are is wholly abundant. And you just have to feel that. If you can feel that, you can know it, you can assume it, you can feel it, genuinely feel it. There are so many beings out there who say that they're feeling something, they're trying to manifest through affirming, but the very base of what they're affirming is so contrast and contrary to what they're trying to draw in, that the only thing they engage is the absence of it. Because once again, it's like a magnet with two ends. Two sides of the magnets will pull together and the other two will repulse. Vibration speaks louder than words or thought or emotion. Vibration. You have to really feel it on all levels of you. So how does that help for where most people are right now? Because there's so much bombarding of prices rising, this bill, that bill, extra fee, extra tax, extra whatever it might be. And now what's more is there's something that you really want to do, or something that you really want to engage in, or in someone that you really want to engage with, and you feel less than. You feel that less than because you don't feel like you have the abundance for whatever it is, whether it's a 10, 11 pound workshop or something much more. And when we feel like that, and that's a genuine issue of the collective right now, is this false belief, this illusion that we are enslaved in a system and controlled by money and people who have money. People only have money because they've released the blocks around it. But money is created every time you use your card, every time you take out a loan, every time you buy something. You are in that moment creating money. Most of the world don't understand this. They don't understand how money is actually created. It's an energy of trust. That's all money is. It's a physical representation of trust. Yet isn't it interesting there is so much distrust, and we question and we get frustrated. And we know that there is more to it, and there is. But most people, including people at banks, including people that are business people, they don't know all of this. They don't know this. They don't remember it. They haven't learned it. And they're also under the same illusion in this rat race, right? But let's look vibrationally at this. Money is an energy. If we wish to become something, we want to offer that out. We want every aspect of us to be that. So the first thing that we can do is we can feel good about every time we are offering out energy, whether that's energy by way of compliment, gratitude, love, genuine love. You've got to really feel it. If it's just lip service, if it's just chatter, your vibration is what is actually doing the creation, not the words or the thoughts. So it doesn't actually really matter what anyone says. It matters what we're feeling, the vibration underneath it all. So if we can start by genuinely taking a moment every time you tap your card, every time you pay for something, doesn't matter what it is. It could be something you really don't want to pay, but if you can find a way to feel good about it, to thank that money is there, to thank that to be an intermediate, because it's not like it used to be as well in many ways. If we didn't have money, what would we be exchanging? We'd be exchanging something different, right? There always needs to be a balance. There always needs to be an exchange. Now, money is not linear either. It is not a linear measure. This is also where we get stuck a little. Money is not a linear measure. It is not £1 or $1 is not the same as what it is yesterday, let alone a year or 10 years or 100 years ago. So exchanges vary. But let's continue here with vibration just for a moment. If we get frustrated at someone asking for an exchange, we're essentially trying to say to that individual, you are not worth the respect or the energy to offer you something, but I want to take it from you. I want to take something from you because I do not believe, firstly, that I am worth it to offer you this exchange, and therefore I don't think you are worth it to offer this exchange. If we continue to offer things without an exchange, it negatively impacts the karma of the individual, because vibrationally we are affirming, yes, you can't afford this. You're not worth that abundance. You are fragmented. You are separated. You've forgotten who you are, and we're going to keep you there by saying you can't afford this. But also the flip way around as well, that when we do find a way, and belief alone is enough, genuine appreciation of that energy form is enough to start it flowing in. Money is not going to flow in just one way. You can draw it in everywhere. It's like the air around us. It's full. We're full of it. It's everywhere. There are many different ways to have money appear for you. in many different ways. But here's the interesting one. Why do people charge for healing? This is really interesting because I don't believe anyone actually does charge for healing, because that's not what anyone is paying for or exchanging for or offering for. Whenever one of us sees another who has a service that they are offering, that's a practice, that's a skill they have honed. That's a measure of their alignment with their source inner being, with their higher self. That's something that it's a vibration they are able to hold, a container they are able to hold. Because when we are still remembering who we are, when we are navigating the vast amount of illusion that is invisibly stored within us, we need, oftentimes, yes, you can do it yourself. But I don't really know anyone who's got the discipline yet. And I love it when I see people who have. But I don't really know anyone to name that has the discipline to do the spiritual practice you need to do to face the shadows. Because it takes discipline and dedication, and that is usually what is absent. And wishing to grow. It won't always stay absent. It's just something that we haven't cultivated as a culture, as an earth. We haven't remembered how to grow that sovereign part of our masculine energy yet. So while we're remembering that, we ask for someone to hold space. Whether that's attending a workshop or attending a full event, whether that's booking a 3-day healing or something completely different. Any modality of healing that there is. You're offering exchange in appreciation for this being's alignment, their interpretation, their translation of energy, the love, the energy, the grace that they're able to hold with you, in order for you to receive and to be clear enough to receive, because you are asking. You are constantly asking. We all are. We are all constantly asking for more and more and more alignment. And whilst we're seeking alignment in a certain area, we spend time, we share time with another who has practiced that a little bit longer, who can offer a different perspective, a different translation, a different articulation, but especially a container. And the container is vibrational. It's based upon the host's ability to see you as who you truly are, source energy embodied. You are abundant. There is nothing about you lacking. There is nothing about you in debt. There is nothing about you unwell. You are whole, you are abundant, you are well already. But when the biggest part of who we are is forgotten that, we need someone to hold that space. We need someone to hold that space. While we remember how to get the discipline up to do the work, while we remember how to maintain that vibration, while we remember how to alchemize our shadows, how to transcend the illusions that we've imprinted, stored, and have running rife, invisible through us. Over 90% of our being is invisible to us, really. Because it's only a very minute percent of our mind which is conscious. Single digits. And the shadows stay in the part of the mind that is not conscious. So it's a really wonderful question when anyone has the courage to ask, why does anyone charge? And it's based in the premise that there is frustration around this form of energy. But if you were to see money as you, if you were to see it as part of you, and you were to love it unconditionally, and we don't even know how to love ourselves unconditionally, but if you were to start to love it in a very wholesome way, show appreciation and gratitude and genuine delight whenever it's leaving your account or coming in, I can guarantee that more and more and more will start to come in. And it may come in different forms. It may not just be tangible straight away. It may be ideas, creations. It may be illusions lifting around money and the world of finance. around the system that 95% of people are in. You may start to notice and hear different bits of wisdom that resonate so strongly that you can't ignore it and you have to follow it. But I can guarantee anyone, because this is a principle of the universe, that if we genuinely find appreciation and love for the provision, for the grace, for the extension of ourselves that is showing up in this day and age as money, because no, money is not always going to be needed, and it wasn't always needed before that. But where you've incarnated into, there is nothing more aligned than being able to choose where you share your energy and where you exchange your energy. There is nothing more spiritually aligned, because abundance and health, but abundance is a physical manifestation of source energy abundance, of source energy embodied is abundance. It shows that fear has been released. We're not pushing it away through fear of consequence, through fear of external, bodies or people or beings. We're not pushing it away through fear of, a fake building online that shows numbers either in red or black. You are abundant. That is your truth. And it is always a joy and a delight. I know for myself, but also for anyone else that I connect with that offers any container, space, or exchange with anyone. It's always a joy for me to connect with any of you, whether it's in workshop, whether it's one-to-one, whether it's remote, or whether it's randomly out on the street. It's always a joy to connect, because it's always an exchange. But it's also knowing there is a level of understanding of universal laws that know that if everything was to be offered out without exchange, you would not be in a better place karmically, vibrationally. There's a certain level of ownership of our own energy that grows when we start to own exchanges. We leave the victim mindset behind. And this isn't to say that anyone specifically is a victim. This is to say that this is an ingrained imprint that humanity have in some way, shape, or form. Even if consciously we say, I'm not a victim, that's great to say it, but your body, everything about you, saying otherwise on a vibrational level, just because there is different contrasting thoughts happening within you. There's contrasting beliefs happening within you, contrasting your higher self and what you've embodied, what we've embodied collectively. We are the only being responsible for the world that we live in and that we're experiencing and creating. And when the heart and mind are open enough, with the desire strong enough to remember who we truly are, we start to feel so laid back about how we offer that exchange, because we know that it is all in highest good anyway. No money belongs to anyone. If it's a part of you, then it's a part of source. So it's source given. And just to contradict a very popular unspoken belief, it's not God giveth and God taketh away. Source only gives energy because we are creating. We're creating. If we're creating something and pushing it away, same thing, it's still created, it's just the opposite end of the spectrum. Right. We could go on all day long about this. This is a very big topic. But we are going to close it there. And thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with it. Thank you, especially if triggers have arisen, because that's a good thing. If emotions, if triggers, if frustrations have arisen, if it's felt uncomfortable at any point, good. Because that's the ego mind saying, this is threatening the belief that I've created. But when that ego gets an opportunity to dissolve, it gets to be reborn again, more closer in alignment with the higher self. And so it takes great bravery to be here right now. So my heart bows to you. And I send you so much love.